Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Peter Murphy begins now.
Good evening everyone. Tasmania's northwest has been dealt another blow. With News TT Line will begin standing down Spirit of Tasmania staff. Passenger numbers on sailings are already dwindling due to strict coronavirus lockdowns, with some voyages being cancelled completely. Our reporter Sean McComish has more.
From today, TT Line will begin temporarily standing down members of its 650-strong workforce. It's not known how many will be out of work or for how long. Spirit vessels have seen passenger numbers dwindle, with non-essential travellers barred several weeks ago. The company has now asked employees to draw on their accrued leave in the first instance. The vessels will continue to operate on their daily schedules, although this will be regularly reviewed. Sunday night sailings have already been cancelled due to extremely low bookings. TT Line didn't go into detail about what staff it would stand down or how this would impact services on board. It is stressing that it will continue complying with safety standards, including crew levels. Freight demand, meanwhile, remains strong. The state government says both it and the Commonwealth will use recently announced support measures to help those impacted. Full services are expected to resume once the coronavirus threat is over.
And the disastrous outbreak of coronavirus in the state's northwest continues to spread, with 4 new cases recorded overnight. Locals are still waiting for Burnie's emergency department to come back online after a deep clean stretched into another day.
With a quarter of Burnie's population in quarantine, including the entire workforce from 2 closed hospitals, the city is still without an emergency department. Defence personnel and AUSMAT, a rapid response medical team, were slated to restart the Northwest Regional Hospital today. That's now been delayed as a deep clean runs into overtime.
The cleaning will unfortunately take as long as it takes. The key for this is that we don't get any contamination from the buildings that are there when we start bringing the teams and the patients in.
Another 4 cases of coronavirus, 2 of them healthcare workers, have been confirmed in the state. All are linked to a cluster in the northwest, which now makes up half of the state's total number of cases.
We can beat this, but we need you to all play your part.
To prevent outbreaks elsewhere, ambulances will soon be sanitised by external cleaners. Until now, paramedics and volunteers have done this job.
So these new cleaning measures are about reducing the load on our hard-working paramedics.
Yesterday, more than 200 tests took place statewide as a dedicated blitz targeting the region got underway. Meanwhile, police are on the march, carrying out nearly 2,500 compliance checks in the northwest alone. The rules are tough. Those in quarantine need a special exemption and an authorised guide just to go to a testing clinic. Elsewhere, small businesses are still adapting. Ulverston's Buttons Brewing is canning its beer manually. Normally, a special truck from Victoria would come down and can more than 2,000 litres of beer in one hit.
So we're forced to hand can one by one at the moment.
While Krusty's Bakery is one of Burnie's few takeaway stores still standing.
It's different because you don't have usuals coming in, but we'll still stay open, as long as we can.
The bakery braving the growing storm of shutdowns around it. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
As businesses adapt to new ways of working, new data has offered a glimpse into the impact coronavirus is having on our workforce. While the first official figures show only a small change, business owners say it's only the tip of the iceberg, warning the worst is still to come.
A balmy April day would normally see Coal River Farm bursting with visitors, but today it's quiet, only skeleton staff remaining on site.
We've reduced our existing workforce by 75%, so there's over 50 people that have been impacted by this for us, and we're just one example of many, the impacts for the industry are huge.
The business is doing its best to survive the downturn, staying open for takeaway sales and launching an online store.
Everyone's adapting and making the best they can of it, but the human impact is really just starting to come to light now. There's so many people that are relying on their jobs that just don't have them at the moment. It's quite sad, really.
New jobs data, taken in the first 2 weeks of March, has offered an initial glimpse into how coronavirus has impacted employment so far. Jobs remain steady, but the worst is yet to come. This data only showing the situation before major restrictions, like the closure of pubs and gyms, were imposed.
Even though the data looks fairly stable, we know from working with young people across our community in southern Tasmania that there's been quite a change in their opportunity to access work.
This will be ugly. At the end of the day, thousands of businesses have been shut. Tens of thousands of people have lost their jobs, and this will have a significant impact both on the jobs numbers but also on our broader economy.
SEEK figures have also showed a 34% drop in job advertisements in Tasmania since this time last year. Hospitality and tourism the hardest hit.
Hospitality sector tends to be an entry point for a lot of young people, learning to work, whether it's pouring beers or making coffees, and those jobs just aren't available today. So it's hard to get in.
Next month's data is set to reflect a more startling picture of current conditions. Ebony Ablett, 7 Tasmania News.
A 20-year-old man has been charged over an alleged attempted armed robbery following a dramatic arrest at Montrose yesterday. Video was captured of the man surrounded by police with weapons drawn in a tense standoff. The Berrydale man is also facing charges of assault and carrying a dangerous article in a public place. He appeared in Hobart's Magistrates Court today and is due to face court again on April 30. A new section of the Midland Highway has opened as the long-awaited Perth Link Roads project becomes one step closer to completion. Traffic changes will be rolled out this week, connecting the highway north of Perth to the new Western interchange. Temporary reduced speed limits will be in place to allow drivers time to adjust to the new conditions. A bid from developers to build a skyway at the Launceston Gorge has been rejected by council. The controversial $20 million plan for the iconic tourist site was set to include 24 gondolas travelling along a 2-kilometre loop. But the Launceston City Council today voted unanimously not to support the initiative. The developers said in a statement the news was disappointing, while opponents are celebrating the decision to keep the gorge gondola free. And as the pandemic continues to spread its impact far and wide, Tasmania's regional tourism operators have been left with the very tough job of trying to stay afloat. Many are taking the opportunity to work on projects they otherwise couldn't, while some are thinking outside the box to expand their operations.
As Green started shooting through the charred environment at the Terhune Airwalk, the site was dealt another heart-wrenching blow not even a month after it had reopened.
13 months of closure because of the fires, and an enormous amount of work was done on the site through that period of time, only to have to close 3 weeks and 1 day later.
Owner Ken Stronach felt slightly he couldn't catch a break. A dark time, but thankfully he's resilient.
I guess the first few days it was very much like that. I guess now I can probably laugh about it, but I'm looking at the other side of it, I hope.
Many staff stood down, soon to be re-employed and upskilled in other roles, ready for the site to reopen.
Well, we are using this time for planning and what we hope will be improving our offering.
The reconstruction of 2 major walks here at the Terhune Airwalk following the fires were expected to take around 5 months. But now, with no visitors around, it should only take around 3.
It will give us another string to our bow when we reopen in terms of our marketing.
For this long-term tour guide and passionate Tasmanian based in Burnie, it's a similar story.
Moving forward, it's going to take a while, quite some time, but you've got to look forward to the future.
Murray has been busy workshopping ways to keep his business future-proof, with many of his previous clients from cruise ships, visitors he doesn't expect to see in large numbers again for a while, hoping Tasmanians and interstate visitors get on board with one of his personalised tours when restrictions lift.
You don't have to go overseas to see the beauty of places like Tasmania.
And while cellar doors are closed, the demand for Tassie Vino is still strong. Campania's Wobbly Boot Vineyard adapting differently, with friendly Labrador Maeve helping with wine delivery.
Get your orders in and very quickly Maeve will be around to see you at your door. Cheers.
I'm fairly positive that we will all come out the other end of this. It's going to hurt a lot on the way through, but all we can do at the moment is really think positively that there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Louise Huber, 7 Tasmania News.
2 trail bike riders have found themselves in hot water with police after separate incidents at either end of the state. Police say it's extremely lucky a 17-year-old wasn't seriously injured after a near miss with the Don River tourist train in February. The rider will be dealt with under the Youth Justice Act. And a 20-year-old man will face court after he was found on an unregistered trail bike at Bridgewater. Officers conducted an illegal bike blitz across the region yesterday. Meanwhile, 7 people will face court after allegedly flouting public health orders with a party in the state's northeast. Officers attended a home on Main Street, Winnaleah on April 12 to find 10 people, including children, at the residence. Police say the party was a deliberate and blatant breach of rules during the health emergency. They're thanking members of the public for the tip-off. This year's Agfest event has been revived in a digital format. Organisers were forced to cancel the iconic festival last month due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. But instead, Rural Youth has announced it's moving the event online, now called Paddock to Cloud. The website will go live on May 7 and remain open for 3 weeks, allowing exhibitors to sell everything from tractors to plants and even swimming pools.
Good evening. Partly cloudy with a few showers about today. Launceston reached a high of 19, 18 across Hobart and Devonport, Launceston 19, 17 about Smithton and Low Head, 16 and 15 at Strawn. On the close-up, low-level cloud is seen over the state. Further out, mid-level cloud is seen over southern WA and northern South Australia, while a large frontal cloud band extends from Sydney heading southeast. Tomorrow shows a cold front in between Tasmania and Victoria, while a high-pressure system sits over southern WA. West to south westerly winds tomorrow 25 to 35 knots, swells up to 8 metres in the west and south and up to 2 metres in the north. A gale warning is current for all Tasmanian coastal waters except the upper east coast for westerly winds. A strong wind warning for the upper east coast, the Derwent Estuary, the Central Plateau and southwest lakes. And a warning to sheep graziers is current for the southeast, upper Derwent Valley and Midlands forecast districts. Tomorrow's forecast now: Hobart, showers easing, Huonville 12, a few showers at Campania. In the north, 15 across Launceston and Devonport, Georgetown windy with showers. Burnie and Strawn tomorrow 13, wind and showers easing at Wynyard. St Helens partly cloudy, Swansea 14 and showers easing at Port Arthur. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast, Saturday showers about the western, central and southern areas. Sunday light showers in the west and far south, fine elsewhere. And Monday showers in the north extending statewide during the day. Capital City is 27 and mostly sunny in Perth tomorrow. Melbourne partly cloudy and Sydney 26 and sunny. And currently Hobart and Launceston partly cloudy and 12 and Devonport looking mostly clear. That's all for weather tonight, Murph.
That's all our news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks very much for joining us tonight. Good night.